So Red Bull Drift Queen in 2018 was
That
like...
was my next point.
Oh, sorry.
So no.
Let's
Let's go on to that. So how did you get into the drifting thing?
That was a pivotal moment in my life, genuinely. Because and it all started, I went to Goodwood. They sent me up the hill, like Red Bull gave me this opportunity to go up in the hill in the Kamaz truck. And at the same time, I got an opportunity to go up the hill in a Ferrari, and I made a video, and it was like lift music going up in the Ferrari, and then in the Kamaz truck, it was just chaos, and I was having loads of fun. And they saw that, and I think they saw that I appreciated something that was a bit wild, a bit, you know, that's my yardstick, you know. And they gave me an opportunity, which is very Red Bull, that they won't tell you what they want from you. They'll just see what you do with an opportunity. And I've always said that about them. Like, they're a very interesting company to work for. I love them because they have been so instrumental in helping me create this. And I went to the WRC, the Rally GB, and they gave me opportunities to go to the M Sport garage and go in the car with Sébastien Ogier, who, as we all know, is an absolute legend. Yeah. And I went and did 2 passes of the test stage with him in the M Sport car at the time. I think it was the Fiesta, Anyway, and I made a video, and I was totally in love with this guy. I'd never seen someone drive like that. And I was absolutely just in love with him. Yeah. So I made a video called How to Make a Girl Fall in Love in One WRC Stage. And that video did like 500,000 views off the back of that. And then it was off the back of that video that they put the Drift Queen thing, that will put the drifting idea across the table to me. They were like, have you ever thought about grassroots motorsport? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Love it. Always wanted to get back into motorsport, but it had to be off my own back, because obviously when my mum and dad like broke up, it was like, oh, okay, cool, we can't do all the fun stuff anymore, which is totally valid. You know, that's totally fine. And I said to my dad, I was like, you know what? I don't ever want you to be under pressure to go racing. So, you know, if I do end up back on a track, it's going to be because I've put myself there. So when they came across with the drifting thing, I was like, wow, this is a really cool opportunity to actually come back into some kind of motorsport. And I'll be honest, I didn't understand the magnitude of the up at the time. I remember I was like, right, we're going to do this thing. It was a working title, Drift Queen, but it stuck anyway. They were like, yeah, just how easy is it to get into it? How easy is it to learn? And I was like, right, let's do this. And then, yeah, first day I was like, what are all these people here for? And they were like, this is your show on Red Bull TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I didn't comprehend that. It was like, I thought we were just doing a YouTube, you know what I mean? I thought we were just doing a bit of a YouTube video. And then there was like 10 people there. And they were like, yeah. And honestly, I had the best time making that series because it was so nuts and so wild. And I was so green to the whole thing that I was there for the adventure. And everything that happened afterwards was just like a lovely, you know, it all felt like a bit of a dream at the time, to be honest. And like thinking back as to, would that happen now? Would that happen to a new, you know what I mean? It was so nuts that I was so green and I got picked up so quickly. Yeah. And I'm forever grateful for that.
Well, it was the right place at the right time, but also the right person for that. I mean, for them and for you, and it all just worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it really did. And I just wanted to take the opportunity and just be like, enjoy every second of it, because I didn't know if this was ever going to happen again. And that was the energy that I brought to it. And I guess it kind of worked. But going back to your original question of how do we get from Queen Bee to Becky Evans or Becky Evans to Queen Bee, that set that whole ball rolling. And then off the back of that, I obviously was in the drifting world, and then there came an opportunity because Red Bull then started to sponsor a championship, which is now Drift Masters. And they were like, can you do live presenting? I was like, nope, but I'll give it a go. Which has always been my thing. It's like, you know, say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah.
So then I started doing live presenting, and then live is a very different skill set to doing pre-record. Once you can do live, you can do anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like childbirth on camera. It's all happening. Do you know what I mean? But it is, because like you have to be okay with just it happening as it happens, and you have to be quick, and so that it makes anything that you do pre-record breeze.
Right.
So you're like, we can have another go at this.
Yeah.
Whereas live, you're like, I've just said something terrible.
Yeah.
Moving on swiftly.
But you're very good at, I can't remember if it was that 2018 when you, we did a little thing, I think around the Red Bull at Goodwood, just a little interview piece. I can't remember if that was 2018 or 19.
2019.
19,
that was
man.
the second season.
Okay, yeah. But you were just so, like your interviewing and your presenting was just so easy and flowy. And I think that takes a I think I'd be terrible. You're good at presenting. You're very. You've done that that's part of your old living really as well. Isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's I think it's definitely a skill set, and like you said, and then going live again is just on a totally. I can imagine totally different ball game with all these variables, things going wrong, and just the camera rolling and just
you know what it is at Drift Masters. We've got like 75 drivers from 50 nations, ranging from Kuba Praskonski to, like Drago Shipki and all.
Wow.
And you're like, read the car. How many vowels? Whoa, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And it taught me to, you just have to think real hard on your feet.
Yeah.
And that is, I think that's the skill, is to be able to kind of formulate a question quickly that's not been asked before. How do you ask? You guys, you can't just always go, how does that make you feel? How do you feel? Yeah, oh, you've just won. How do you feel? It's like you have to keep finding ways of sort of talking about the subject matter, but in as many creative ways as you can. But yeah, the worst one, and my Finnish and my Swedish drivers, okay, they know I get really nervous when I'm about to talk to Juha Rintanen, because I could ask a question. Juha, how's the car feeling? I saw you, there was a little bit of a movement before you went into the transition there. Is there anything wrong with the gearbox? And he goes, what? And you're live on air, and you're just like, ah!
So it's a Kimi Räikkönen, basically, of the drift world.
He knows I'm terrified of it.
I was taking a shit.
Yeah, but it's like that. Juha is like that. He's like, what? And I'm like, okay, did anything happen in that last run you'd like to talk to us about? And it's like you almost have to roll into it. Like, he knows that I feel awkward, and I mess something up, and he's just laughing at me. He's like, okay, sound. Like,
brilliant.
But that level of pressure, once you can do that, you can pretty much do anything, because you need to be okay with like making a balls of it. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I think live presenting is something you see when it's done well. It just looks so effortless, but it's really hard.
It's the swan. You're scrabbling in your head. You're like,
feet are going. I'm on the top of the water. You're all lovely and quiet.
Yeah. I'm sure Juha Rintanen will see this podcast at some point. I hope he does.
Do you think he does it a little bit on purpose?
Massively.
Yeah, he plays up to the whole Finnish sort of personality.
I was like, I am going to make these questions 4 syllables. Are you okay? Because you terrify me so much that you're just going to just drop me live on air. Yeah.
Brilliant.
But anyway, look, it's all part of the fun, isn't it? You got to have a crack wherever you go.
Yep.
So talk to us about drifting, though. So I guess there's going to be people watching who might have seen a bit of drifting. And what was really cool is Speed Week. I saw you at Speed Week at Goodwood, because I think that was the first time, although they'd had drift cars going up the hill at Festival of Speed with like Mad Mike and stuff like that.
James, yeah.
And for me, Speed Week was the first time I ever sat down and watched a drifting competition. And there were lots of people there and lots of people watching on the TV that had probably never seen it before at all. It's quite a misunderstood motorsport. But from the outside, it just looks really bloody difficult.
Yeah.
And you've got to be so committed.
Commitment, precision driving. It's got a bad rap because, there's 2 different levels. Like, we operate at the highest level in the world where I am at the minute. When we're at Drift Masters, when we're at FD, that is the highest level of the sport. But obviously, over the years, it's had a bit of a bad rap. And I think people still... I think they still attach that stigma to it. Whereas, actually, if you watch James at Goodwood going up the hill, or if you watch these drive Mad Mike or people like that,
sideways past the Flint wall, you're like,
yeah, at like nearly 100 miles an hour.
Yeah,
it's a serious skill. It's being able to put the car exactly where you want it to be at speed sideways. You're controlling a car which is essentially out of control.
Yep.
And that's an entirely different skill set to being able to go fast. And I have such respect for these guys, because those split-second decisions that you make are what's gonna make your run, hit it or quit it. And it's insane, really.